Alrighty, I've been wanting to do this for a while, but FANG has won. He won Red Bull. Wait, no, what the fuck am I talking about? He won CEO. So we're gonna talk about FANG for a bit. Alright, so going through like monos matches, especially with Punker, for example. Here, let me see which let's do a couple of like basic there. Now, mono was very solid throughout the matches. Like his individual buttons, he was either doing like his actions in neutral were very he wasn't doing like tons of Rio Bendas and niche cues. He was sticking to the normals, especially light normals and crouch strong, just FANG's really good attacks. And you know, when he would pressure, he would just do like light, medium, and like that's it. And he would like back off or like go for coward crouch pressure or something like that. But he did not do a ton of gimmicks. But he did, on occasion, go for a gimmick like this. Now, the thing about FANG's gimmicks, and I did this, Colleen players are still getting away in like top 8s of the majorest majors in the world. Colleen players are still doing EX-Hail on block in matchups where they should get punished immediately, and people still are not punishing EX-Hail, V-trigger or no V-trigger. So, but that's a situation where there's lots of like more universal ways to punish EX-Hail. In fact, Mono at CEO had a match against Nephew. Yeah. Mono knocked Nephew into losers, right? And well, in their match, Mono was also not punishing EX-Hail, even though FANG has one of the best punishes to EX-Hail in the entire game, with Stand Fierce, trade, and do another Stand Fierce. But for FANG's gimmicks like this Rio Bendis shit, first of all, there's a couple of things. Like sometimes FANG players will do this on block. You know, Mono would occasionally do this. Other FANG players do it more frequently, but Mono would sometimes, you're used to it being like stand strong or something into the light Rio Benda, which is more safe on block and moves FANG backwards, and is 2 hits. Now here's the thing. These are all like terrible on block. They're all punishable. But people are not going for those punishes, broy. Now, the reason why is because you expect it to be the 2-hit version, and it's hard to react to these things, because, like, it's -10 on block, but the recovery is very fast, so, you know, most people don't recognize that they're in that situation, or even necessarily know the frame data on this particular move. Medium is -8, heavy is -10. But, yeah, you can just input the punish automatically, and if it's the light version, your punish won't come out because you'll still be in block stun. So you might as well, every time you block a Rio Benda, just input that punish. But more prominently, the gimmicks that FANG players will usually go for. Alright, so for regular Rio Bendas. Now, sometimes Mono had a very interesting tactic in CEO where he, instead of doing this like Rio Benda shit at like full screen where you have like really strong coverage or something, because if you just do this, it's kind of rough for FANG, because he, if you just react to it a lot of the times, you won't be able to anti-air in time specifically, or... But, he would do it in the same sense that, like, a Fireball character would throw a Fireball in neutral, like a Sakura player would throw, like, a EX Fireball or something to, catch forward movement or footsies or something. So it's like, at the moment that Punk would want to go in, he put down the Rio Benda, and then he would, like, dash or happen to strike into it at that moment, and then Mono would react to that, and then get the appropriate conversion a lot of the times, like crouch strongs or anything like that. So it was a very interesting way that he applied it in, like, the close range footsies, and there is risk to it, but there's a lot of reward as well if he happens to get the right timing for, like, the general sense in which Punk wanted to move forwards or poke into it or something, or any opponent that he was playing against, obviously. But there is an inherent risk to doing it in these ranges against most characters. Now, the solutions to FANG's gimmicks are very, very character dependent, even more so than Colleen's, where, like, you have to have something that's hitbox-hurtbox interaction will beat the Rio Benda. So for Vega, If you're in like any range like this. Oh no. My controller's been fucking up. What the shit? So yeah, there's lots of Vega solutions to this move. And you do not have to be particularly fast at reacting to these. So if like a FANG player were to do one of these block strings, it's an easy reaction. Just start holding back, and then if he goes for the fake one, if he goes for the fake bullshit, just punish it with like the stand jab or something you can do at point blank. Now Vega has a couple of other options that will like go through these Rio Bendas. He has it's either stand fierce or crouch fierce with claw. No, it's without claw. Yeah, so that's like a trade. No, too far away. There we go. So that's a trade combo. Crouch strong should get through. Maybe I have to be slightly further back. Yeah. Crouch strong, if you're not point blank, will go through on block or on... See, that's the other thing about some of these situations, is that that was on block, and it's still plus for Vega. You know, even if you mistime a lot of these, there's still going to be advantage, because if you just do something heavy enough to go through it. That was +8 on block for Vega. And I believe crouch strong should also work for Vega, although it's not as good of a hurt box-at-box interaction as fierce and has less range, so there's no point in doing it. Yeah. And obviously, he has the X roll that he can do. So he has a million different tools to use to punish the cancels into Rio Bendas, or like the Rio Bendas in neutral. If FANG is just like sitting behind a Rio Benda, he can just approach and do like fierce or something. So this is the other thing, is when there's in these situations. Oh, this is another situation that occurred quite frequently, where it's like sometimes Punk had the right answers to like no, that's the side switch one. Where's this EX one? Sometimes like Mono would do like a EX niche cues and such, and Punk would like block the first one, and then here, let me demonstrate, because I already showed the other one. What I wanted to do. All right, but like in all of these instances, you can always just back out of these situations. You know, you always want to escape from FANG's offense. You can do that with you don't have to get locked down. There's always going to be a big gap. It's not... What the fuck is going on with my controller? There's no way that should be a counter hit, because it's frame 1 invincible, so it must not be taking my input correctly. And then if you V-shift this, you can see what action he took in the air, and then you can punish it with like slide or something. Need to input it faster. This is another gimmick that some FANG players will go for, where they set up the poison cloud, and then they do like... A lot of times they'll do stand strong into the command dash side switch thing. This is probably like the least gimmicky version, or most gimmicky version of this, because it's stand strong can only cancel into things that will be bad for FANG and very, very reactable. But any command dash, you can generally just time your throw, or just like jump out and leave. Now he does have some ways of chasing that down, and he can anti-air that, but yeah, I mean generally you can react to this pretty easily, and there's no point in just blocking it. You might as well just do something to get out. Now again, these kind of gimmicks are very character specific. There's certain things, like let's take fucking let's take Falk for instance. Falk is like really good against FANG's gimmicks, at least. So in the close range, Falk's like crouch fierce will completely ignore the poison cloud and just punish him outright. No trade even, nothing. Longer range, easy punish with forward fierce. On block it's still plus, so who cares? Easy trade. Nothing to it. Now, one of the other things about FANG is that a lot of his frame traps, he's one of the characters, like if you were to do like Karen, you would do like light kick, crouch strong, stand strong, or light kick, crouch strong, low forward. Like every time. You can just do the same block string every single time. And like there's not much the opponent can do about it. You just, you know, if you get the counter hits, you convert into damage. You know, if you're playing Falk, you can just do like this block string or whatever. Falk's block strings suck by comparison. So with Falk, you definitely have to mix up your block strings more. But for FANG, it's an absolute necessity because all of his block strings are like shit except for that. He can only do like something that's like +2 or 3 into standing medium kick if he's close enough for the first hit to reach into like a that. And depending on the character, some can punish him with CA, some can't. But that's his only like true block string. His true frame trap is just that. And that's like his only way to stay completely safe while also getting a knockdown if the opponent tries to mash. So I mashed, hit a jab, and got knocked down. Now all of FANG's other pressure is like weird and fake. Not fake, but like it's always a guess. You know, there's some way to exploit FANG's. Like if he does this, I can just punish that. So he might do something like that. And that will also get a knockdown if I challenge here. Because it counter hit combos into crouch strong, which you can convert into a knockdown, but if I block the jab, there's very little FANG can do after this situation. So in that range, if I block one of his lights, like his stand jab or crouch jab or something, there's very little FANG can do to stop me from mashing there. So if I mash here, it has to be a 3-frame character, sorry. He's much better against 4-frame characters than 3-frame characters. Let me switch to Karen. Luke has great options also against the Cloud. He can just like EX Fireball through it at range. He can just heavy uppercut through it at close range or footsie's range. He has a couple of buttons that will go over it cleanly. So yeah, in this instance, what can he do to stop me from mashing crouch jab here? Not a whole lot. So then, if he were to try to stop me from mashing crouch jab there, well, he has to do a different block string, or so. Let's try that one. Oh, I don't even think that one. So if I mash there, oh, counter hit combos into that. I think it still actually trades with 3-framers here, though. Yeah, it does. So that doesn't actually help him stop my 3-frame mash there after his jab. So what can he do to stop me? Well, let's do crouch short into like EX. Like that. I think that's the only thing that he can do to truly like stop the 3-frame mash here. Other than no, that trades. Maybe I just mistimed it. Let's try it again. There we go, yeah. So that beat my 3-frame there. And converted into a knockdown, but he had to spend bar to do it. Just on a block string, not even on a hit confirm. And then he wouldn't convert off of that crouch jab even on counter hit any other way, unless he had like trigger to activate with the light Sotoja. So yeah, not great options all around. He might be able to do that. Let's see if that will beat a 3-frame mash. No, it won't. So if he does jab fierce, which is a counter hit combo, so that will stop me from mashing after the medium kick. Like that. Nope, because it's not a true frame trap. So let's have him do... Well, I mean, that's the thing, is that a lot of his buttons have like hurt box interactions and stuff like that. So if I do stand strong, that'll also lose because it's slow. 3-frame's gonna win. Let's do light kick, which has a number of conversions that he can do afterwards. No, it's gonna lose because it's slow and its hurt box is bad on startup. So his only real option to beat 3-framers here is to do something very like so that's like the problem with like FANG in this range when he's plus. A lot of his moves are not like that good enough, at least for true frame traps. His buttons are still really good and really dominant. Like if he were to just do like a slight delay on crouch strong, like that. No, even, god damn it, whatever. You'd have to delay it slightly more than that. But anyways, you get my point. I think he might be able to win it with, no, oops. With that. I think, the hurt box is better on that move. No, I was able to whiff the jab and then recover. Yeah, no. God, so in a lot of these instances at these ranges, he does not have true frame traps. If he converts into something that will get a knockdown, if he does a block string that will lead to a knockdown on counter hits, he has to commit to doing something that has a gap in it that will be punishable. So if they're like, oh, they're going to challenge here, I'll do stand jab, stand fierce. Well, if they don't challenge on the jab, or if they don't challenge before the jab and they challenge after the jab, it's going to interrupt the fierce, you know? So all of FANG's pressure has to be constantly mixed up, because if he does the same block string every time, there's going to be an exploitable gap that can just be punished by mashing at a certain point in the block string. Or FANG will have to constantly commit to doing block strings that don't lead to knockdowns, like just doing jab, 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 and getting nothing out of it. So that is an unfortunate reality of FANG, where it's like, if you study his block strings enough, you can figure out where to mash, and it's generally pretty rewarding to stop him from doing his stuff. That's why a lot of FANG players do like jab and then into that coward crouch into more pressure, because it has a better hurt box. Maybe I'm not point blank. Not even. Well, I guess it's because Luke's crouch jab is so far-reaching. There we go. He outspaced it. So yeah, Luke's crouch jab is really, really strong. So yeah, a million of his block strings will end up in these situations where there's some sort of gap that can be buffered into and exploited because of the bad hurt boxes on the startup of FANG's moves and the fact that they're not the fastest.